You have reached the Geek Elite. Good luck.
I'm sorry. Like it's hard to talk about this movie. There's nothing there.
It's a train wreck. This movie's a train wreck.
It's what was it even?
Yep.
I will take us into that journey into mystery because it is that time. We are once again going through the Marvel movies that are not part of the MCU. That's right. This week we have with us Jessica Bailey, also one of the hosts of many of the podcasts on the Geek Elite Media Network. Jessica, why don't you tell people that might not know who you are?
Well, I am one of the watchers on the Geeks Watch. I'm one of the readers on the Love of Pages, and I'm one of the history lovers on United States of Women. Woo!
That's a resume that you have there. And I like it. You were ready for that. You're like, oh, I got what we call ourselves. I've got the shows. Here's my resume. Please consider me for this position.
I know. I didn't practice it at all. Totally not on my long commute home. Nope.
No, definitely not. Not even once.
That's right. Jessica is a co-host on many shows and a big part of Geek Elite Media here. She is decided to go ahead and take this journey with us into Doctor Strange 1978. Oh, yes.
And to be clear, 1978 isn't the subtitle of the movie. That's the year it came out.
Yes.
That's right. It's not like Wonder Woman 84.
Right.
So if you're new to the podcast, on this podcast, what we do is we take the Marvel movies that have already existed to see if we can somehow divine what it is that will be in the future phases of the MCU. Last year, Ian and myself went through all of the MCU movies proper because we thought, hey, Black Widow is going to come out sometime, but it never did.
Yeah. So anybody listening at home, and if there's anybody out there in Chatland, you better put some respect on our names. All right. We are out here on the front lines, putting our bodies and our sanities on the line. Okay, the MCU wasn't so bad. The MCU was a pretty fun watch, barring like 2 movies. But these ones, we are 2 out of 4 right now. That I'm just like, what is the point of this? Who said this was okay? And honestly, it's not the movies that I would have thought would have been this way.
So in our first year, we went through all of the MCU movies that were available. In our second year, we are going through the movies that are Marvel properties, but not MCU movies. So we started with 1977 Spider-Man made-for-TV movie. We've done
trash.
We've done The Incredible Hulk, 2 episodes of that.
Not trash on either of those. Those were enjoyable, and I had some fun things to say about them.
And now we are doing Doctor Strange from 1978, the made-for-TV movie that I believe also did get a theatrical release, because that's what they did in the 70s. They had like 2-hour pilots that they decided, hey, let's just go ahead and drop this off in the movie theater too to get more people to watch it on TV.
I'm upset about that. I don't like it.
Jessica, to you, the biggest differences between this 1978 movie and the Benedict Cumberbatch 2012 Doctor Strange?
The biggest?
Sure.
Like the whole thing? How about the similarities? He's a doctor.
He's not even handsome in this one.
He's not. I was trying to think. I was like, is he 70s handsome though? And I was like, no, I don't think he is.
I mean, he's got that nice 70s porn stash going.
It does. That's all I thought. I was like, he looks like a 1970s porn star. Like,
I was no.
oh no.
So
And
speaking of, that is Peter Hooton. That is correct. Hooton as
Sounds like
Doctor Strange, the titular character of Doctor Strange. I don't think I recognize this gentleman from anything else. Seems like the last movie that he did was 2017. He played Sheriff Buford Tolley in Soul Eater.
All right.
Yeah.
You have my interest with the title there. I might have to do some Googling later.
yeah.
Also in 1978, he was in the first Inglourious Bastards. He played Tony.
Oh.
Oh, there was a first.
Well, the original. Like the one that Quentin Tarantino made is kind of a remake, but not really.
It's like a spiritual successor.
Yeah, something like that.
It's an homage by the same name.
There you
It's
go.
still the same movie.
Okay,
I don't know how to
alright.
finish that statement. An homage by any other name is just as sweet. I don't know. I lost my joke. I'm sorry.
So let me give you one little piece of trivia. Our antagonist in this movie is Morgan Le Fay, which is played by Jessica Walter. Anybody who either watches Archer or Arrested Development should recognize that voice or recognize that face. She plays Morgan Le Fay, and this is literally the first live-action Marvel villain to show up in anything. So all those episodes of Spider-Man and Incredible Hulk, I guess, did not have any villains that were already part of the Marvel comics.
Huh.
Okay.
I would say I need to preface this like I normally do, everybody, people at home, people in chat. I am a DC nerd, and this was a fun adventure to go on with Mitch because I don't know that much about the Marvel comics. So going in, I have a working knowledge of Doctor Who with very sparse knowledge of villains. So I did a little bit of Googling while I was watching the movie, and I was like, oh, well, let's see what they do. This could be interesting. And then I was promptly disappointed.
So, I mean, if you notice that, like, the demon that Morgan Le Fay is working for, I mean, very much has a same type of feel as Dormammu from the Benedict Cumberbatch Doctor Strange movie. Like, he's stuck in another realm.
Assumed.
Yeah, I mean, they never call him Dormammu in this movie, but he's stuck in another realm. He's using an emissary to, go between the worlds and try and open up a gate, so to speak. But I think that's about it in the similarities, as Jessica pointed out. Even our Doctor Strange in this movie, he's a resident ER doctor or sleep lab doctor. I don't really know what level of medicine he's practicing, but he's not a surgeon.
Yeah, it seemed like all of it, but leaning towards psych ward, like psychiatry, kind of.
Maybe because even Clea, the interest, is supposed to be taking some psych classes, and he was going to help her. Which, do we need to get into the moral ethics of sleeping around with your patient?
Hold on. It was a work call. It was very clearly professional only. They made it painstakingly clear. Oh, well, we can't date because that's morally repugnant. But if I come over to help you with your homework. Hey, I'll pick you up at 7.
Yeah.
I see no problem with what he did there. I'm hard joking. Please don't be mad at me, anybody.
Ian's canceled.
Yep. Hi, guys. Jessica, we brought you on because you're the new host of Journey into Mystery. Yeah. Bye, everybody. Where's my jetpack? I came in here the first time I was on anything to do with Geek Elite on a jetpack. Where is it? I'm getting out of here.
No. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Trying to find a loophole to date somebody generally means it's ethically wrong. Like,
Probably not the best choice.
it's not the best choice.
So go ahead, Ian.
I would like to point out that our ancient one in this movie just feels like somebody's like kind of senile granddad.
I think
he's just like,
go ahead.
He's just like, I know magic. Ah!
I think it's hilarious that you put it that way, because to me it just seemed like a stand-in for Stan Lee. Like even to the haircut, like it's just like Stan came in and is like, don't worry about the ancient one. I'm going to come in. You're going to have a guy like me, and I'm just going to tell you all the things that you need to know, and then hand the reins over to the next Doctor Strange or the next Sorcerer Supreme. Even the trivia, one of the trivia facts for this is that Stan Lee cited this movie as the Marvel television project of the 70s that he wound up giving the most input, and noting he became very friendly with the writer, executive producer, and director, Philip Degree Jr.
All right, Stan, I know you're not with us anymore, but come here, bud. Come here. Bring it in. Bring it in. I need to have a chat with you. Are you okay? Were you coerced into saying this was great?
He didn't say he was great. He just said that it's the thing that he had the most input on, like movie TV wise. Basically, they didn't let him come talk at the Spider-Man and Incredible Hulk ones.
But he's like, at least I got to tell them the general plot.
I'm friends with the writer because he let me say 3 sentences. Comic books. Excelsior.
Excelsior. I mean, that is one thing that was about Stan Lee. Like, yes, he helped create or co-created all these characters that we now love. He ran Marvel Comics for a super long time. The dude knew how to sell. Like, he knew how to put himself out there. He knew how to brand everything and make sure that Stan Lee was synonymous with Marvel Comics and Marvel Comics was synonymous with Stan Lee.
I just want to know how much better this movie would have been if the first time you see the Ancient One, he's like, "What's going on, true believers?" Like,
it wouldn't have thrown me for one. It actually would have been like, they put Stan Lee in this movie. I'm surprised.
I would have run with it. It probably would have been better. Mostly because it would have been full of other fun, zippy catchphrases.
Yeah.
One of the other characters and actors in this movie was Wong, character that we know from the current MCU. This actor that portrayed him was Clyde Kusatsu. I'm sorry, Kusatsu. So,
yeah, that sounds about right. That's where I'd go with it.
Okay. You might not recognize his name, but you recognize his face. He's one of those I've seen you in things before, like gentlemen. Definitely a interesting role in this because he gets to have the line of like, what was it? Why do you call him master? Or, no, the sorcerer says, you don't have to call me master. You're not my servant. You're my friend. And he's like, yeah, but I respect you. So like they have this weird dichotomy, which you would think, especially in 1978, they would very much have the minority character be subservient to the white sorcerer. But they play up the whole, like, he's not a servant. Is his, as opposed to, which I know was in the 60s, the Green Hornet with the Kato and the Green Hornet, his driver and valet.
See, I 100% expected that relationship going into it, where it's like, oh, we got old guy Ancient One, and we got like young guy Wong. All right, so something's gonna happen, and Wong's gonna bust out some kung fu and like kick somebody in the side of the head and end that situation. All right, I see where this is going. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
What did you think of the replay over and over of pushing the sorcerer off of the bridge? I don't think we could have seen that scene one more time.
It's magic, and she pushes him off a bridge.
Thank you for saying that.
But it's magic. I possessed a girl so I could push you off a bridge.
Like you've mind controlled a girl. You mind control a cat to go get electrocuted at a front door. And it seems like the only magic they can do in this whole movie on either side, good or bad, is just vague mind control.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much danger anybody really is in, but you'd expect something like, lightning strike, you're dead now. Like,
Yeah, like mostly none of the real like magic showdown stuff happens until they're in the other realm. Like they do magical things over there, but yeah, you're both right. It's just like hypnosis or nudging someone or
Like beam.
Yeah.
Like Kamehameha kind of.
Showing up in places.
like okay, and then when we go to the other the other dimension, the other realm, and like the dude on the horse shows up, and Doctor Strange is just like, no. He's like, foiled.
Yep, that's right. Because Dora the Explorer rules exist in the other realm.
No swiping.
That's right.
Swiper, no swiping.
Aw, man.
I thought I told you to kill him. He showed up with the name of power. Okay. Like, all right. You're supposed to be a scary demon on a horse. He's a dude that doesn't know magic.
But he knew the right words to say.
I'm upset.
I mean, was there anything redeeming in this movie at all for either one of you?
I liked that everybody in the hospital was just done with Stephen Strange's shit. Was just done with it. At the end, it's like, Doctor Strange, do you have a watch? Probably. Does it work? I think so.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes he's like, all right, well, like, fix yourself, because, professionalism, please. The guy wasn't being a tool. Like, looking at it, it's like he's supposed to be running this section of the hospital, and he has this asshole who's just like, I'm a doctor. What are you gonna do about it? Where's the pretty nurse? Like,
I suppose I like in the hospital scenes, they always had the PA system running in the background, and like every other scene, it was like Elizabeth Knight to the receiving room, Elizabeth Knight, and I was like, man, get there, Elizabeth. It's just...
That was so strange because it was so loud and forefront. Like you think stuff like that is in the background where maybe you would hide an Easter egg or something. So I was kept thinking, like, are all these names like people that worked on this project? Were they trying to
probably
like throw stuff in there? Like it's so loud that this PA system.
I was listening for other like comic book names, and I was disappointed.
I mean, none came up for me, and I don't think. I mean, nope. I'm sure someone would have thrown that in trivia somewhere if it had actually been a name worth mentioning.
Yeah. So here's my question: would you go back and watch this again?
Well, funny you should say that. This is the second time that I've had to watch this movie because it was part of
Mitch, why do you do this to yourself?
It was part of the Geeks Watch before Jessica had joined, where John and myself watched a bunch of the Marvel before the MCU movies. So we watched this one. We watched that Spider-Man movie, which John came on to talk about. And we watched the Captain America movie from the 90s. We watched the Generation X movie from the 90s. And the Fantastic Four movie that never got released, which I'm looking forward to rewatching that one. Yeah. That's okay.
See, I'm on board for that one. I'm going down the spreadsheet right now because, yes, everybody at home, we have a spreadsheet of when these when we're watching these movies, when we're supposed to record them, who's the guest, all the stuff. Mitch is very organized. I'm along for the ride. So you just named a whole bunch of them you've already seen. I think we could just go ahead and just tick those off the list. Like, hey, we did them. If you want to go watch the Geeks Watch, cake boss.
Oh no, sir. Oh no. You get to have this one too. Sorry,
I'm upset.
You, Ian, get to have this too. You get to have this memory in your head. So
counterpoint. Why?
I mean, Jessica, you'd have to say that you are a better person for watching this now, right?
I know a good example of how to not write a female villain, I guess.
There you go.
Good points. Good points. All right. Yeah, let's tear it apart that way. What bad thing did you learn from this on what not to do? Like if you were gonna rework this script in any way, what lesson can you take from this to fix and not do again in the future?
One thing I would definitely say you'd want to do is pick an actor that's going to be your lead that has some type of personality other than a smile. Like this dude just smiles his way through the whole movie. Yes, exactly like that, Ian. And does nothing with any of the story and that script. I mean, not that script was great, but like we've seen other people do better with less. Like this dude, I don't know. I don't know.
I floated into another realm and, cursed a demon away with words, but nah, this isn't real. that scene was like, nah, I don't believe it. Take your ring back. Like, you just floated in lights and saw a demon.
No. I think the number one thing that I would take away from this is you have to invest in your script, like pay your writers. Otherwise, you end up with a trash heap. And look at other projects from the time to figure out what special effects you have access to. And maybe try a little bit of something along the way of like, oh, this movie's supposed to have magic in it. All we're going to do is make hands glow. That's all we're going to do. It's going to touch something, hands are going to glow. We're going to shake hands glow. Like... Star Trek was more advanced special effects wise at this point, and it's like, what the hell? I've said it too many times, but I'm upset. I don't have any other words.
One of the key points to Doctor Strange in the comic books, in the future movie, or now our present or past, he has to learn about humbling himself. Like he has to be so arrogant and over the top and then get into his accident where he can't use his hands. Like, I understand they didn't do the surgeon part, so his hands aren't a big deal anymore, but like he has to be knocked down a peg before he relearns to accept what it is that he doesn't know. And he doesn't get that here. Like he literally, all he does is starts having dreams about a dude falling off a bridge, and then meets a girl that was in his dreams. And you're just like, well, okay. Like things are just happening to him. Like he's not struggling. He doesn't have any agency. Nothing is going on with that character. So you're not invested in him at all.
Would you call Clea the girl of his dreams?
I mean, she literally was in his dreams.
I don't feel good about that one. Bad jokes are bad.
I mean, he at the beginning, he's also hitting on or coming from a relationship with the nurse lady, right? Like that was their whole banter back and forth. That whoever gave him the bad perfume, or he gave the bad perfume to, and then she's like, "Oh, well, I like it" or something. I don't know. It was weird back and forth, and it seemed like they had slept together. And he's like, "Nah, but I'm not in a relationship with nobody. It's just a thing." And then later on, she's smiling at him, and even though he's all smitten with Clea.
Yeah, he's a player. It's just that was his personality. That was what they slapped on him, was he is a player, and everybody is attracted to him for no reason whatsoever. Even the villainess for some reason.
That's what I was going to get at. Morgan Le Fay was just like, I need to have a dude, and Doctor Strange is the closest dude, and he's kind of hot for the 70s. Like they supposedly, I don't know, did they just make out, or did they get down to Bone Town in the other realm?
No. He definitely astral projected with her, if you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, God. That bugged me so much.
No, what
Morgan
I'm
Le
thinking
Fay,
is
Lilith.
he's not that handsome. He has a terrible personality. So really, all that's happening here is he's very skilled at working with a particular part of his body that has to be magnificent. Otherwise, there's no reason to put up with him, because either he's really good at it and everybody's like, I need to figure out what that's about, or he was actually handsome in some way and I'm missing something.
I mean, I would say thank you again, Jessica. You got to be here for the first one of these movies to depict sex, so good on you.
Oh,
Yep.
lucky me.
I just looked at our timer and I'm like, it is nowhere near the end of this episode.
Oh, no, not yet. That's not the thank you yet.
I was confused. But overall, I would rank them in this order of, this is the fourth one we've watched.
Fourth, yes.
Yes. So we're two good, two bad, and the two good ones were back to back, and I did not expect them to be the Hulk. I'm disappointed with the fact that we had an interesting character such as one Doctor Strange, and it was a movie that was pretty much him going, so you get weird dreams, right? Me too sometimes. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, his prescription for, hey, you need to stop drinking because your ulcers are bad is, I'm just going to go ahead and admit you to the hospital so that we can keep you dry for a couple nights. It's like, come on, I think you need to give her a little bit more tough love than that.
Yeah.
No?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's really bad for an alcoholic to straight up quit alcohol. I'm going to go into my psychopharmacology. So that's why I was like, if she's that much of an alcoholic, like, she can't just drop cold. Like, you'll get really bad symptoms. And so maybe he's trying to get her through. I don't know. I was like, oh, are they actually trying to like get her through the withdrawal symptoms of alcoholism? And I was like, no, he just thinks that's going to work. Okay. Okay.
I mean, it's not like he got her to go to rehab or anything. It's just
She
straight
said,
up.
No.
Just sleep here for a couple nights.
Yeah, I guess I think the only reason why they did that was because the first introduction to him was he's a player, and then this was like, but he cares about his patients. Like, and then this other doctor who clearly is the better doctor is mean because he wouldn't let her take up a bed. And you're just like,
but he's the mean doctor, and he gave Clea something to make her sleep, which she's scared of, but it might actually end up probably being better for her if she just stays asleep, so she's not actively trying to hurt herself or others.
Yeah, pretty much. And then like the other thing is she's scared because of her dreams, and tranquilizers you can't dream during. It's not an actual sleep. It just shuts you down. So there you go. But
Yeah,
I was like, no, getting a trank would have been a good thing to see if you could figure out what's wrong with her. But
while she's out, you run some blood tests. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I've watched a lot of Scrubs, so maybe I am qualified to talk on the subject. But
well, here's Zach Braff.
I will.
No, just joking.
I will say though that like Ratchet there definitely should have told her, oh yeah, this was prescribed by so and so, and it's this. Like, you can't just be like, you gotta take it. Like, don't know what it is, but you gotta. No, not that wouldn't fly nowadays.
But she's been working there for 20 years.
I can tell.
Okay. You messed up.
Knowing from our time watching Cursed, Jessica, you have quite a bit knowledge of Morgan Le Fay and all the Fay there is. So what did you think of, I think you touched on it a little bit earlier, but their depiction of Morgan Le Fay?
No. I did not. Morgan Le Fay is like the huge kind of sort of villain in the King Arthur myth, and just, I mean, she's a sorceress. She's considered a high powerful sorceress, and just to have her flaw being having to work for a demon and then falling in lust with the villain, or with her like antagonist, the guys she's supposed to kill, and then that's what eventually kills her. Is I have issues with it. I have a lot of issues with it. She would just kill him. Like, there's just no way that this character that they put, she would just kill him. She wouldn't care. She would find somebody that she could fully control. Like, if her thing was, I just need to get laid. Like,
like she got defeated by being truly and completely horny on main. Like that's all that it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my other issue was like she had this scene where she said like all of her names, and one of them that she said was "I am Lilith," and I was like, "No, you're not. You're not the first woman to leave God and Adam. Like, no, I'm sorry, you're not the mother of demons. No, she would not let this situation happen to her."
No, both characters that were named there are very much so like, I don't have time for your bullshit. Like, no, bye.
Yeah,
stab. And then, all right, who wants a piece of this? And no strings attached, no questions asked.
Now, speaking of her character and how she ends up, because we see her like turn old because she's been, she failed at what she needed to do in her, I don't know, master or the demon that's controlling her, reverts to her age. But at the end of the movie, she's being interviewed by a local newscaster or news reporter about this method that she's come up with. And she's on the news. She's got her short haircut and she's looking straight into the camera, almost like she's looking right at Doctor Strange and being like, I've got all the kids. The kids are going to do my bidding. Like, I don't know if this is a storyline that goes on further in the show because I've never seen it, but I mean, what are we supposed to take from that? Did she die? Is this a different person? Is this just, her? Did she pull one over on the demon?
I have no answers for you,
man. I got nothing.
You're asking questions that nobody has an answer to. You would, if you brought a Meeseeks into this world right now, and we're like, what happened? You would get an army of Meeseeks because this is an impossible question. Nobody watched this show. Nobody knows the answer.
Well, let's see. It went for.
If you say 8 seasons,
no,
I'm gonna shit myself.
I don't think it made it any seasons. It's literally just this movie, and it did not do well enough to get a season.
Okay,
darn.
Good.
That's good though. I have faith in humanity restored.
Pants protected. Like we're not defecating anywhere near this room right now. So life is good.
Any speculation on what it is that she could be talking about? What the method could possibly be? What was it that she's doing to these kids? Either one of you have a guess.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, probably
all that money that the kids have, right?
Yeah. She's got them into selling steak knives. Yeah. So she found a bunch of kids and she was like, "You want to make some money on the low? You just got to sell some steak knives." And they're like, "Oh, so it's easy enough." She's like,
No. It's that. Would you like to buy a subscription to magazines? Like that's what it is.
It's face lotion.
Face lotion.
Ooh.
Bunch of overly priced face lotions.
Morgan Le Fay, Mary Kay. See, there we go. Boom. I put it together. She changed her name slightly, started a new business. Everything's pink. If you sell enough, you get a car that you still have to pay taxes on.
Everybody knows that it's not the product that you're selling. You got to sell the franchise to someone else. You got to get someone else to come in, and that's how you make your money.
I mean, yeah, and naturally, that's every business on the face of the earth. Again, Jessica, you're here for a sales pitch. Mitch, take it away.
Well, I have this very nice piece of timeshare that I'd love for you to come take a look at and listen to my
property.
1 hour presentation. You will get a free coaster.
I like that word. A free coaster.
Now he's underselling this coaster. Usually this coaster is worth about $20. Don't look into it. Don't fact check me on that. It's usually worth about $20 for an hour of your time. You get a free coaster, and we'll give you we might give you a tour of the property to see what you might be getting involved in.
There you go.
Oh, well, $20. I guess that's more than minimum wage.
Best way to look at it.
There we go.
One happy customer already. All right, love it.
Yeah. if anybody's interested in Mitch's timeshare, let me know. I'm available on Twitter to sell all of Mitch's stuff.
Ian, do we have anybody in the chat?
No.
Nope. That's okay.
We're hit and miss here while we stream this live. So if anybody out there wants to be a part of the conversation, you very much so can be. All you got to do is go to twitch.tv/IanFlux on Wednesdays at about 6 o'clock ish on, like, that's Arizona time because all of the time zones are fake.
True.
Time is a construct. Yeah, there you go.
Life is a lie.
So technically I'm not wrong. Time zones are a myth. Buy gold and come hang out while we record this live because I give out other great pieces of advice. Specifically on how to sell Mitch's truck. Find out that myth.
It's not my truck.
That's actually my other podcast called We Sell Mitch's Things. It's a really, really small font.
In parentheses.
Yes.
Okay, so the whole point of this podcast is what is it that we could take from this and hope to show up in the future MCU? We have a Doctor Strange 2 coming up. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Anything here? Anything at all that you saw?
I would not hate to see a good version of the Marvel Morgan Le Fay. I would hope for a good version of it. I don't know what her comic book Marvel version is because I don't really read comics at all, but I would like to see a better version of her somewhere.
In the comic book, she's very much what you know from the Arthurian legend. She's, powerful sorceress, uses anything she can to get the power that she needs. Even at one point, I believe she is the teacher to Doctor Doom in the mystical arts. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah. So she's a veritable foe that shows up rarely because she's so powerful, and the Avengers have to take her down.
Ooh, yes.
It takes all the Avengers, not just Doctor Strange.
Then I very much, not just Doctor Strange going for the first time. You're like, that works?
Using power that she taught him. Like, she showed him how to do stuff, and he's like, haha, I'm using it against you now.
She's like, oh no, my weakness, using things I taught you against myself. I would like to see, a good Morgan Le Fay would be good. I want to see more medical Doctor Strange, just so hopefully we can get that crotchety old doctor back. Just so he can be like, Strange, what are you doing? He's like, I have a perfect surgery record. Not in this hospital, you don't. I don't know. It has no effect on the actual story. It would just be fun.
Do you want it? What you just said, Ian, but do either one of you want to see him in the next movie, actually do medical stuff? Go back to being a doctor? Not permanently or not without magic, but actually have to save somebody using his medical knowledge.
I think it'd be really cool to see him be an emergency medic, kind of, sort of he sees somebody gets hurt, realize magic isn't going to work in this situation, and he's still going in, saving the day in the real sense in which real doctors save the day, because doctors and firefighters and EMTs and all them are heroes. So it'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Because he completely gives up his medical side of his personality in the movie. Obviously he's too stuck on the fact that his hands don't work anymore.
I think he would have to, because as a surgeon, if your hands don't work, they will not let you do surgery. Right. But so if they know that he has injuries, that there's no way, because the only way he can fix his hands is through mystical stuff. So the rest of the medical world thinks his hands are messed up. There's no going back with it. So he could never be a surgeon, because if you make one little boop.
Mistake.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's
It's alive. So
completely
so it kind of
understandable.
makes like he can't go back to being a surgeon, but that's why I'm like he could definitely be like a quick medic, like or kind of thing.
I didn't watch a whole bunch of the show, but I've seen enough Grey's Anatomy to know that after Derek busted his hand to get out of the plane crash, he had to prove that his hands were okay to be able to go back to brain surgery, okay? I know that much. But I would love to see him holding like Dr. House style like clinic hours.
Yes. Yes.
For like the Avengers.
The Hulk shows up and he's like, all right, Doc, I got this weird thing about Hulk. We've been over this. I can't perform medicine on you. Your body does I can't. And Thor is like, but my injuries, you're also Asgardian. You don't have a skeleton.
No. See what you do is you get Doctor Strange to like astral project with the Ant-Man after he shrinks down to get inside the Hulk's body, and then like teaches him how to do medicine or surgery while inside of the Hulk. Boom.
Oh god. What's that movie? That movie where they shrink down in a machine.
It's
Take a pic-
The Fantastic Voyage? Is that what it's called?
Is that what it is? I don't know, but I want an Avengers version of that.
Yes. I love it. That would be perfect.
The best thing. Peter Parker shows up and he's like, all right, Doc, I've got some stuff going on with my body. And he's like, nope, not touching that. I don't understand your spider powers. People tend to die when they work with you.
Didn't you shoot that dude with the fishbowl head?
Right.
Oh, no.
I've heard rumors. Who'd you hear him for? InfoWars J. Jonah Jameson? Fake news.
And you know what? I want to throw back a couple seconds. If you want to hear how much Ian does or does not know about Grey's Anatomy, you should go find a video. What was it called again?
So I used to run. I used to host. I was saying run is kind of silly. Me and my wife used to make YouTube content, and I had a series called Ian Explains, and the episode is just called Ian Explains Grey's Anatomy.
I love that episode.
It's on. If you want to go to YouTube, go to YouTube. Look up Mod 20 Gaming, MOD20 Gaming. There's a whole playlist with all of the Ian Explains on there. Do yourself a favor. They're real fun. It's a kind of a mix between I explain things that I don't know much about, and I explain things that I know something about lazily. Kind of varies from episode to episode, but the Grey's Anatomy one choice. That's it's the very first one. It's where everything started. Now I'm going to preface it with I had no intention of this being a thing. I don't know if I said some things that may be offensive, but I don't know. So grain of salt it. I was younger. All the stuff. It's questionable, but go in with the comedy mindset. It was a good time. And I know nothing about Grey's Anatomy, honestly. So would recommend 9 out of 10 would recommend.
I recommend. So there you go.
It's my magnum opus that I just never stopped after.
I don't know where else more we can go with this movie because there's just not a lot to grip to hold on to.
Yeah.
I think we need to do a minute by minute recount of what happens. Nope, we're not doing that.
No, that's not a good idea.
Nope. Those of you not watching either live or the video of this, if this gets posted as a video, Jessica just gave me the most death glare I've seen off of her in years of just no, we're not doing that. But we're recording, so I'm not going to actively fight you.
Would this have benefited from any of the other? Well, let's just say either Spider-Man that we've already watched or the Incredible Hulk that we've already watched, like popping up in this. And I know, Jessica, you hadn't already watched it, but imagine the Hulk or Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man showing up in this.
Where though? Like
That's
Spider-Man
fair.
swings to save the guy from falling off the bridge.
That wouldn't have been
And
bad.
then none of it happened.
Then the
Right.
whole movie doesn't happen.
I think that that David Banner showing up might have been able to be helpful, just because he might have been able to help him think it through a little bit.
Like we could have got early on Science Bros, and like they could have scienced some things out of this.
And it would make sense because he could have been headed to the hospital because they have some like radiation machine.
Of course.
And he just bumps into Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange is like, I can't help you. I have this weird case. And he's like, why don't you let me take a look at it? And he's like, you're not a doctor. And he's like, actually, I'm a scientist, PhD. So like, kind of, yeah. And he's like, awesome, come here. And then they put their science brains together, and boom, I just wrote a better movie.
I mean, the Hulk and Doctor Strange together as they travel through the Nether Realm to defeat giant demons.
And it's like a road trip movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what you had with Thor and the Hulk in Ragnarok, right? Like he walks up, he's like,
Yeah.
big monster, and he says, no, you can't destroy him.
He's like, you have to let him do the thing. And he's like, mad about it. I just want to pet the big dog.
I don't know if this would have honestly benefited from any other Avengers, so to speak, or Marvel characters showing up. I think, as Jessica said, where would you have put him in? Like, I guess if you found some other mystical characters, we could have had Baron Mordo, who we saw in the Doctor Strange movie, but I think that's about it.
The immortal Iron Fist.
Oh, there you go. That's a mystical character. He could have just been like, hey, I punch things.
It's like, I am a weapon that's been created to fight. Point me in the direction of evil. And it's like, your acting is terrible and your kung fu is lackluster.
But I am the immortal Iron Fist, and he has to say it at least 4 times.
Nobody cares, Danny Rand. Give me more Daredevil.
I mean, that's the beauty of Marvel Comics, right? It all takes place in New York, so anybody could show up at any moment. Daredevil could have showed up there, Danny Rand, Luke Cage, any of these characters, but we weren't doing crossovers yet, I don't think. So,
shame.
I have nothing else. I have nothing
else to say about this. So I'm just gonna say, hey, so what are we talking about next week?
Next week, if everything goes to plan, we will be watching the 1979 Captain America movie.
Is this Bike Helmet Cap?
Yes, it is.
No!
Oh dear.
Mitch, I feel like you're actively torturing me. That you're like, I don't want to watch these, but these are going to be great to torture Ian with. That's my impression of you.
I'm sorry. I don't feel like we're going to have any good ones until we get to like at least 1994.
Blade.
Yeah,
We're not going to have anything good until Blade.
That's 1998. I mean, you might like Howard the Duck. Like, I think you'll have fun there. It's bad, but you might have fun.
Maybe. He's just creepy, bro.
It is. It's very creepy.
Isn't that the one that has like bestiality in it?
Yeah.
It has implied bestiality.
Which is just still not good.
Your implication versus what actually exists is like null and void. It's the same thing.
It was the 80s. We were all doing coke. It just, it was what we wanted to see on the screen. A lady having sex with a humanoid duck.
Show of hands. Who wants that in their life? Let the record show Mitch raised his hand.
I did not. There is video evidence that I did not raise my hand. I raised my hand. It's true.
We'll fix it in post.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Jessica, now I will say thank you for participating and watching this movie with us. It is not good, and I'm sorry, but I hope you at least had a good time talking with us.
I did have a great time talking with you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Anytime. There's a key under the mat, and just make sure that when you leave, you lock the door. That's all I ask.
Ian, it's a timeshare. You're not supposed to tell them that the key is under the mat.
Yeah, but she wasn't gonna buy anyway. Like,
Okay.
know your audience. We'll ask our guests next week if they want in on the timeshare. That's the new that's gonna be our new thing since we got rid of Tom Cruise. So if you asked me, Tom Cruise would have been the angry doctor that ran the hospital.
I thought he was going to be Nurse Cratchit.
No. So, hey, Mitch, where can they find you online if they want to talk to you at all about anything for any reason about any given topic, particularly medical advice?
Well, for all your medical advice, you should go to, actual doctors. But for funny medical advice, you should find me on Twitter. I am at Mitchipedia, GEM stands for Geek Elite Media. Jessica, where can they find you online?
You can find me on Twitter as JM Bailey Writes.
Make sure to also listen to her shows, Love of Pages and United States
The United States of Women. It's okay because I almost always want to say great women of history, like all the time.
The United States
every
of
time
Women.
I do it, I was like, no, it's the United States of Women, and I'm actually on the podcast.
I'm the one that edits your podcast, so I should know it too.
I'm going to put it out here. I might be the worst person on this network because I don't really know any of the other content that we put out.
It's okay. I do that on purpose. I make sure that you're isolated so that you're the control.
Like I'm just not allowed to be anywhere else. I'm just kind of like, you stay in this room. You stay here. If we get you, John, and Steven on the same podcast, everything's going to shit.
And also on the Geeks Watch with myself. Ian, where can people find you online?
Hello. Hi, my name is Ian. You can find me right here on Wednesdays and most other days of the week over at twitch.tv/IanFlux. If you want to talk to me during the week, you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. At Twitter, I'm at IanFlux12. That's IANFLUX, the numbers 1, 2. And on Instagram, I'm just Ian Flux. Again, IANFLUX. Come on by. The light's on and there's a key under the mat. Don't tell Mitch.
The rest of Geek Elite Media is at Geek Elite Media on Twitter, at Geek Elite Media on Instagram, and Facebook.com/Geek Elite Media is our Facebook page. Check out archived episodes of this podcast and other podcasts on our website, geekelitemedia.com. Journey over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Geek Elite Media for bonus material that you can only get there if you're one of our patrons. And whatever podcatcher you listen to, please rate and review us so that you can help spread the word of our network. But until next time, this is Journey into Mystery on the Geek Elite Media Network, saying always remember to geek out.
Geek out.
This concludes our broadcast.